Hi, my name is Jessica Wozniak, and I'm here to show you my first submission for Neil's Next Top Nail Artist, sponsored by CND, English Garden. So the first thing that I did was I took wire and I formed it into little circles because I was going to be making real stained glass windows. I filled them with a little bit of top coat and shellac color, and I mixed it to where it was transparent but fully covered, and then I cured it. I also made a loom out of wire, and then I mounted it on a rubber base, and I individually colored in each square with alternating colors of shellac to give a really cool lattice effect. After I cut it to the right size, I cut out a hole and I added in the circle that I previously made. And then using acrylic paint, I added some detail. I made a cross with NTNA inside. And here I'm using an X-Acto knife. I like to do that once the paint is dry because it gives me a chance to fix any imperfections. And here is the final look for my large stained glass window. It's so cute. Now I'm starting to work on the building. I used a combination of shellac, top coat, and acrylic powder to achieve this look, and I individually made every brick. So about the inspiration behind my piece, I chose to do The Garden of Love by William Blake, and here's the poem. I went to the Garden of Love and I saw what I never had seen. A chapel was built in the mist where I used to play on the green. And in the gates of his chapel were shut, and thou shalt not writ on the door. So I turned to the garden of love that so many sweet flowers bore. And I saw it was filled with graves, and tombstones where flowers should be. And priests in black gowns were walking their rounds, and binding with briars my joys and desires. I think that this poem by William Blake is a really cool representation of the Romanticism art movement, because to me it sounds like he is having an internal struggle between freedom and structure. And so he uses the garden to symbolize love, and to him love is light and it is freedom. It is kind of a childlike innocence, happiness, and imagination. And so he feels torn because where all of this happiness used to be, now there's a church. And this church represents the structure I was talking about. It's kind of the society constructs that he feels pressure against him. He feels a little bit pressure from the dogma of organized religion. He feels as if the way society and the church and maybe his government is going is that he's not allowed to use his imagination to the fullest or love to the fullest, and he just is expressing that in this poem. Look at how freaking cute these little stained glass windows are. This one has CND on it, and then the next one has a bottle of shellac. They're so cute. And I made them the same way that I made the big window, except for the lattice work. I hand painted that because that is way too teeny tiny to use wires. But I love these windows so much. They're such cutie pies. Going back to William Blake, he lived most of his life pretty modestly, and he passed away with little recognition for his work. And it wasn't until after he passed away that he was being recognized as one of the greatest artists of his time. And I think that that kind of really speaks to the way that he felt a little bit oppressed, or maybe that he couldn't live the life that he truly wanted to live because people didn't appreciate it until he was gone. So I think that's pretty powerful. Also, real quick, look at how cute the flora is in there in the church. I was trying to be a cool girl and make like a snakeskin effect with the lace on the acrylic, and then I ended up loving the way that the lace looked on there, so I kept it on. So it was a cute accident. Okay, and now I'm starting to work on the garden portion of this project. So basically everything in the garden is covered with the same watercolor effect, and I used green and white on the nail tips themselves to kind of show a little bit of grass, and then everything with the colors is the plant life that's on there. And here's a little bit of the extra bricks that I made, and I used a pathway to go towards the church. And then I guess I did ombre those nails a little bit. Pretty cute. So here I made leaves out of wire, and then I dipped them in the marbling, and look at how cute. They're like tie-dye leaves. And I did this whole marble tie-dye look on the garden area because since William Blake used the garden to represent love and light and happiness and imagination and creativity and all of that, I thought that this was a great way to incorporate all these awesome colors. And to me, all these colors kind of melting together and flowing around just was a really great way to represent that. And here I'm cutting up the dried marbleized nail polish, and I'm making little leaves. And then you can see once we show the final look, I individually placed all those little leaves, and almost broke my eyeballs doing it because they're so teeny tiny, but it looks so cute. And so you can see in the center is where I used all those teeny tiny pieces, and I put bushes on top of strips of more beige because that's dirt. I put trees, I put little potted topiaries, and then there's the vines growing everywhere. And so the church is a little bit darker because it's representing that structure. And then we have the nice, light, airy garden to represent love. And I hope you guys like it. And please vote for me starting on Monday night. Thank you so much, guys. Bye.